Well, as you saw in the title, today we're going to connect a sub-panel to a main panel, the main panel of this house. We're at my place in the attic. I've mentioned it before. Soon you'll see it in a video. Today, the panel is on the ground floor of this house and serves as the main panel for the area. And we're going to hook up a sub-panel right here. And then once I start working on the metal framework, insulation, drywall, well, we're just going to move it over there since I'm going to start from this side. I'm going to move forward, and the panel, I could have moved it over there. I know what I want to do in terms of the layout, in terms of the rooms. And in this area, normally there's a closet, so the panel will be in a closet. I'm going to plan for a bit more length so I can move it very easily. Should I put in a GTL, we'll see. But in any case, it's going to be moved about 60 centimeters. I've planned for a fairly large panel anyway, because here there's only a lighting circuit, a ventilation mechanical control outlet, a water heater, but I've made sure it's big enough. You always have to plan for something bigger. With your panel, if you ever need an extension, you'll appreciate being able to add modules. So for me, the ground floor panel is a bit overloaded. I've already begun tidying up in there, but the plan is to fully redo it and add as many modules as possible to this panel. Besides redoing the panel, I'll have about 1.5 rows remaining. At the bottom, I'll only keep what I use least. Cut everything, redo the panel, then move the bottom modules back down. Well, I'll put them in the panel at the ground floor level. And here I'll only have what's related to the upper floor. Maybe there will be 2 or 3 things related to the ground floor, but I really want to separate the ground floor from the upper floor. So I'm planning bigger for that reason. Of course, to work safely, we're going to cut the power. We check for the absence of voltage, and then we can work safely. From the subscriber circuit breaker at the front, a small blue conduit comes out of the drywall with 2 2.5 M&2 wires. One of them connects to the neutral terminal block, marked with blue tape, because the wire is black. Blue is always the neutral. We don't change the color for the neutral wire. It's blue and nothing else. The second one powers the phase terminal block here. The phase may be red, black, or brown. By the way, on my differential circuit breaker to supply the vehicle charging strip, I put it in red. It could have been brown or black. It doesn't matter. The neutral's on the terminal block, nice and blue, all good. So on this panel, I have 1, 2, 3, 4 differential switches, and you can see 1, 2, 3, 4 wires. So in 16 square millimeters, which supplies the phase. For all 4, you see differential switches, and it's the same for the neutral. I have 1, 2, 3, 4. We are indeed on each differential switch with the 16 square millimeter wire coming from the terminal block. For my secondary panel, yes, let's say I'm adding a ride-in, which is this. It allows you to attach the modules. I'll put a 5th one here, the interdifferential that protects the line. So a 5th interdifferential that would be around here. I'll reconnect to the neutral and phase terminal block using 16 square millimeters. I go behind all that and I power my interdifferential. Well, for my secondary panel, it's going to be exactly the same, except that instead of having the ride-in here, we'll go back into the attic. And we'll tap either directly into the interdifferential or into the terminal block. I prefer the terminal block method because if I ever need to reconnect, I know my terminal block is powered. Otherwise, you can power the interdifferential directly, which will then drive the second one via a vertical comb. I'll show you that in a moment, the 3rd, the 4th, and so on. So this is the plug-in system from Schneider. You see, it's a system with pins. I'll show it to you again in a moment. Here we have the distribution blocks, all these small modules, whether it's the plug-in system from Schneider or the bus bars from Schneider, le grand Haguet. A system like this would have exactly the same wiring. So the same wiring meaning I can also put a circuit breaker in the panel to protect the secondary panel. Since I'm 3 or 4 meters away, it'll go just above. Over there, it's useless. I connect directly to the terminal block, and that's just as good. There we go. Turn off the breaker and confirm there's no voltage, as I mentioned. We get in. I'm using the drill since it's faster, and I'm holding the camera with one hand, which isn't easy. We unscrew it, and we do the same for the nut. There we go, we've unscrewed it. Now we just need to remove the 2 wires. Remove all that up there, like I told you, and connect it to the new panel. So, a bit of work. I'll do that off camera. I'll take everything out up there, and I'll get back to you once I've removed all the conduits. We secure the frame. I'll put up an oriented strand board. I'll show that. The ground wire will use the same principle. the ground rod is in my crawl space. The ground wire feeds the ground terminal block, and on my new panel, of course, I have a ground terminal block, okay? So, I'm having fun unscrewing all of this. I pull my conduits and we'll meet up there. So for now, I'll take this. This is salvaged from a job site and I'll make some more. 1.5 meters, 2 meters and 16 Emma, 1.5 meters for lighting circuits, for example. And here, this is 20-meter conduit with 2.5 for the outlet circuits, washing machine, refrigerator. Anyway, I'm getting this ready because on this side, obviously, I have the panel. I need to hook it up fast since time is running out. If I start cutting everything without connecting it, I won't have power tonight. So some quick connections, we're hooking up roughly to the old lines and then with the cable that's here. So the pink one is the 1.5 and the yellow one is the 2.5. I'm going to remove it, but I'll do it off camera. And when we get to doing this whole part at the floor level, I'll film it for you again. I'm going to run everything with cables. And now if I start running my cables, removing the fiberglass, removing the old lines, since I'm cutting here, I need to connect on this side before I go. No electricity tonight, and there will be yelling. So for now, we'll make do with this. And now this one, the 2.5, I'm going to prepare it. In here then, the MobiWay MOB from Nexans. This is the old generation, this is the new one. It allows you to transport it, install it, and store it. So on the job site, you unroll it in attics. It's great because here you saw a reel set down, you pull and it unrolls. I'll put it on the 2.5 and show you how to install it. And then you just have to unroll it. And otherwise, there are also, still from Nexans, the e-fill, which peel like a little banana. So you have the red, the phase, the blue, the neutral, and the green-yellow, the ground. They come in 1.5 and 2.5, and you run them through your conduits, and it works really well. So the e-fill from Nexans, all the links, of course, are in the description. We're installing the MobiWay MOB. On top of that, and we unroll it to see what it looks like. It's my first time discovering him. There we go. Let's take this out. What do we have here? A little manual, locked, open. Okay. So here it's unlocked. This one I'm unlocking. Well, perfect. It's convenient to carry and we weren't using it anymore. It fits in like this. You lock it and it's secured. It's pretty well done. And the legs, they unfold like this. There you go. Now you get it. All we need to do is take the spool. You place it like this and you turn it until it presses against the spool. You lock the indicator into the hole, you see? If I need to remove it, just turn it until it comes out. Now I insert and turn it until it snaps and locks. Repeat on the other side. There you go. And now, I just have to unroll it. So I'll be able to grab my 2.5 and the 1.5 and pull on them, make the lengths I need, and it comes out on its own. So the new board, we're going to fix it. Here, you take an old board and attach it from behind. Why? Simply because of the depth. From this, I was gonna say the framework, but it looks more like matches than a framework. Anyway, it protects me, the board. If something falls in front, at least it will be hidden in there. So we're going to go over all of this again. Of course, I installed all the conduits. See, there are little twists everywhere. So the secondary panel will supply power to the future floor. But in the meantime, I'm bringing the modules from downstairs up here so I can free up the downstairs panel and redo it without being paralyzed, because I'm going to do this from time to time whenever I have a bit of time. But if I cut everything off all at once, of course, you're paralyzed. And if you have an appointment, something, you know what I mean? It's a mess. So I prefer to power the lower panel by putting it here. In the meantime, that way it allows me to work on the lower one. And after this panel, I go all the way back down. After installing my GTL new casing and plug-in modules, I reconnected everything at the bottom. And that frees up this panel for me to power the upper floor. And here, the goal is to do exactly the same thing. So yes, I have the conduits on the ceiling. That's completely normal. So the goal you see here, it's already been done. I still have to do all this. So I have to cut the framework, redo it, the floor, so quite a bit of work. From brick to brick, it's 19 meters long and 9 meters wide, but I won't use the full 9 meters. The goal is to keep walkways on the house's sides, anything under 1 meter 80. For water, ventilation, electricity. In short, I'm going to run everything along the sides. So I'm careful where I step, because you see, it would be a shame to end up underneath. I don't know where it is. It's over there. Here we have an octopus, and there's another one hidden over there. So I'm having fun pulling everything out to identify it all and put everything along the sides. That way, if I ever have a problem. Because once the floor is laid, you can imagine that to find the issue, you have to break through the ceiling below or have fun cutting up the floor. So I prefer to move everything to the sides. And I'll even put in some conduits from right to left or left to right. It doesn't matter. That way, if I ever need to run something through again, at least I'll have my conduit hidden underneath. And of course, all the insulation will be done. Anyway, there you go. We've got quite a bit of work to do. So for now, what matters to us is connecting the new panel to the old one and then making our connections. So we're going to mount the panel over here. I had already marked it by making a small hole in relation to the hole I made there to run the conduits. Here we go! Let's check that we're more or less level. Perfect. And of course we can remove this. We can remove it if I need to put it on top, and the terminal blocks, we remove them. And of course, I can put it at the bottom like this. And this one, we'll put it here. There we go. And this one, if I need to put it at the top, if I can manage, there we go. So should my ground terminal block go at the top or bottom? And what about the neutral and phase terminal blocks? I have my small wires coming out in 2.5 in 1.5 for the lighting. So for the ground wires, I'll run them directly behind. I'm not going to make things complicated for myself. The fewer wires I have behind the ride-in, the better it is for me. So the ride-in, you can remove it. It's perforated in the back. You'll understand why I'm putting it back in. So I'm taking what's called a splitter. The splitter has little tabs, and as soon as I position it in the rail, it's locked. It can't go left or right anymore. And to lift it, you have to apply a little force. So I put it back down. This is an 18 module distribution block for an 18 module panel. There's also a 13 module version for a 13 module panel. Also, we'll see that in a moment. I could tap in here to add another distribution block, but it would still be on the same differential. Here, for example, if I install the differential, so a plug-in system, I plug it in directly, I connect it neutral phase, my line is powered when I turn it on, okay? If I need to install a huge module here, for example, this socket module that takes up a lot of space, there could be a second one next to it. Where should I put my circuit breakers? I'll add another distributor above or below to install them. The position doesn't matter. I'm connected to it, but since we're relying on this residual current device, don't add another one to it. We don't connect another panel to this small terminal block. It's mainly for extending another distributor. I'll remove this one. We'll check it soon. So I put my differential on the 18 module panel. Let me just make a quick note. Of course, I could possibly do it differently. All right, I'll snap them back in. Here, this is a Legrand residual current circuit breaker. It could be a Legrand or Hager differential circuit breaker. Having an unbrushable distributor doesn't mean I can't use a module from another brand. We're still using a Deutsches Institut für Normung, so at the bottom is a 40 amp differential breaker for my charging station. I'm going to reuse it because it's worth a certain amount, and I'll be glad to be able to use it. There we go, directly onto my Deutsches Institut für Normung. So that was just a little side note. Of course, you can put whatever you want on this Deutsches Institut für Normung rail. So next to it, we're going to put the circuit breakers. So, of course, I've numbered all of them. All the conduits are numbered 24. I don't really remember what that corresponds to. I wrote everything down and checked it 50 times. Number 25, yes. Since number 1 is at the top, to be honest. 24, 25, 26. Let's keep going. It's moving quickly. We just need to hook it in. And if we had the power, like I told you earlier, as soon as I plug it in, all we have to do is turn it on and we'd have electricity. And the last little one, if I'm not mistaken, we're good. So here I have my circuit breakers, my differential, and at the very end, I'm going to put this block. And here, same thing for this one. There we go. It's powered. We lock it underneath. I don't need to connect it. It's directly powered by the distributor. I have 3 modules left. A remote switch uses 2 modules. A water heater contactor also takes 2 modules. And we'd install a 2A to protect it. The remote switch, water heater contactor, and this block are all pre-wired, so there's nothing you need to do. Once you put it on the distributor and plug it in, you have power. So here, if I operate it, if I plug it in, it would work, right? So now I'm going to show you another setup, which might be interesting. I'll take all this off and show you. As you saw, skewering and removing are both quick. And the advantage of skewering actually is that there aren't 50,000 screws to remove. You saw it comes off quickly. If I need, for example, to work on it, I don't need to remove 50 screws to unscrew 50 screws. I tell myself I must remove the comb, but then I lose all power along the line. Here, if I only remove this one, I still have power on my circuit breakers. I replace it, put it back, it's powered. So that's the advantage. As for tightening, I don't have to wonder if it's done right. It just plugs in neatly and looks perfect. So I'll remove all of this, then I'll show you what we can do. With a 13 module one, there we go. So with this one, we push a little, we remove it. I'm taking a 13 module one since there are 13 module panels, and next to it, I'll put a 5 module one, there we go. This one no longer depends on that one and isn't powered. For this one, I'll put a residual current circuit breaker on it, okay? It's connected to the neutral and phase, powering this line. So now I can put back all my little circuit breakers, let's say up to here. So now I've powered my whole line. But next to it, it needs to be powered. Well, simply by putting back a differential breaker. There you go. It nearly fell, but everything's fine after reinstalling a differential breaker powered by the neutral and phase. Next to it, I could add a 32 amp one, for example. And that's exactly what I'm going to do for the line that's just above. And I'll do the same thing for the second line. So the third line is it. Exactly this module. And the second line, I'm going to put another 13 module and a 5 module, but I'm not going to connect anything to the 5. It's just in case. You see what I mean? Interdiff. On a single and same rail, I have my 8 circuit breakers, and here I have a 32 amp one. There could be something else behind it, but it doesn't matter. But they're independent from each other on the same rail. So that's what you can do with a 13 module and a 5 module. But in my case here, I'm only going to put in an 18 module distribution block, so I'm taking all of this out. We reinstalled the 18 module. There we go, it's good. And this one, we said we'd put it here and lock it underneath. This one is done. There's nothing left to put back. Underneath, there's the strip that's already there. They're differential, my little circuit breakers. Here it's 2.5 up to this point, then 1.5. The wires are here. I'll run the grounds behind. I prefer having more wire. That's it. This is what you can do with one line. We'll start from the bottom with the second, third, and fourth. Otherwise it's 1, 2, 3, 4. Do you understand? And lastly, we'll do the connection in 16 mm2 neutral phase. There we go. At least I'm being safe. Understand? So automatic terminal, the blue neutral goes to the left and the phase goes to the right. We can also top stitch. I'm not sure if you can see it clearly. Both the neutral and phase terminal blocks, number 25, have 2 slots each. So always neutral on the left and phase on the right. So far, it's simple. Just keep going. You find number 26. Is that correct? Yeah, that's the one. Anyway, I don't have a choice. I'm being silly. Because out of 5, I have only 3. But it's still better to check anyway. And for the 10 amps, well, it's the same story. The neutral, the phase, that's done. No wiring needed. We put it on the distributor and it's powered. It will work once I connect the differential switch. By the way, the differential switch is 63 amps. They're all 63 amps since my main circuit breaker is 60 amps. I'll put a link in the description with the amperages, and then same downstream rule, upstream rule, what we can put behind the differential switch. So, second row, and I explained it to you earlier, a 13 module and a 5 module, which of course will need to be powered by a differential switch. I do the same on the third row. So here, it's exactly the same principle. We take the differential switch, put it in place, snap it in, that's it. And then you take the module and the circuit breaker. For me, they're always numbered. There we go. For the 5 module 1, a differential switch and a 32 amp breaker next to it. For now, I'm not going to connect it. That's for later. We'll see about all that. That would actually be a dedicated video. You'll see what we'll install on the 32 amp breaker. So for now, we'll take the conduits again and set up our base just like earlier. It's the same process for the third, second and first line, so I'll fast forward this part. To work more easily on the ether, of course, we can unclip the rail. The front wires and not hold it securely so it won't fall. This one, we can slide it, but I think I'll put it more over here because I have my splitter, the terminal block that's on top, which could get in my way. So we'll set up over here. After that, it's simple. We just have to plug in the ether. So all we have to do is come and plug them in. Born auto, no screws to tighten, making it very convenient. If you need to remove it, a little tap with a screwdriver on top and it comes off by itself. Hop, then you can fold them and put them a bit at the bottom to avoid them getting in the way when we put things back. The rail. So I ran the 16mm2, so it starts from the lower panel. For now, it's not connected. Of course, we'll have to connect it, the phase terminal and the neutral terminal. So for that, we're going to strip it. And we're going to put little terminals on them. We cut off the excess. There's not much, but we still cut it. There we go. So we're going to plug this one in, put it here, all the way at the bottom. This is the phase shown in red on the red terminal block. We're going to connect it here. I'm placing it on the neutral terminal block, but not at the bottom, since on this one, the bottom is actually the top. It's for 25M2, so I could do it and it would work, but still. Next, we need 16mm2 for the first differential plus bus bars. And I have the one that powers the 32 amp. We'll run this through here. There we go. We'll put it right above so we're still on the neutral. We do the same thing here. For the phase, I'll run it behind the oriented strand board. I'll catch it here. So this is flexible for those who are wondering. And regarding the differential, I'll show you in a little while. But we can't just do whatever we want. The combs must use flexible wire. As you'll see, I can't attach a terminal to it. With the comb, it doesn't go through. So I'm missing. I'll catch it like this. That's for the 32 amps. However, with a little more space, it wouldn't be so bad. Here, they're a bit too close to each other. And the last little one, we're going to pass it like this. We catch it, yes, we put it there. The power supply comes from the lower panel in 16mm2. Then I have my first row of differential breakers that will supply the second, third and fourth, with the bus bars and my differential breaker on module 5. And the same for the phase. And as for this, we'll see what we do with it. You'll see that later. So for now, the 16mm2 is done. Now we're going to connect the first differential breaker with the bus bars. So here we're going to power the first differential switch. I have the first one at the bottom since both my terminal block and 16mm2 are there, but it could also be at the top. I explained it to you. You can put the terminal blocks wherever you want. So the 16mm2, the neutral on the left, you have the little letter N. You can't go wrong anyway. We put this one here, and next to it we put the red wire, which is the phase. Like this, okay. And to power the one above, we're going to use a bus bar. And on the bus bar it says rigid cable prohibited. So you only use flexible wire. I tried to put a terminal on, but it doesn't fit because the insulation is slightly beveled. Here we wouldn't be able to make contact anyway. So you only use flexible wire. It works extremely well. And this one, we're going to put it like this. So the idea is to put it, you get it, it's going to power the one above. We position ourselves like this. We gently push the 16mm2 we press, and there you go. Nothing complicated. We can hold it like this and we screw it in. So to power the row above this one, well, we simply put in another comb and we'll do the same for the last row. So now all we have to do is tighten. And finally, the last comb, there we go. We screw all of that in. And of course, you'll need to check that all the screws are properly tightened. There aren't many in this system, so we can take some time to check. Everything's connected and done, which is neat. Now we'll focus on the last circuit breaker where I've used terminals. To finish with the residual current devices, we just need to connect the one on module 5. Behind it is a 32 amp circuit breaker and above is module 5. I might add a residual current device later or not. For now, I'll install a bus bar. I used lugs for now since it's alone, but if I add another above later, I'll switch to a bus bar and remove the lug because, as I told you, no solid wire and no lug with this bus bar system. So for this one, it's done. It has its 32 amp circuit breaker. Like I said, that will be the subject of a dedicated video. It is powered directly by the terminal block and the ground wire. For this one, I put a terminal on it because anyway, we don't connect anything else to it with a comb or anything like that. So we put it here, or I can put it there, I can put it there. It doesn't matter. You can put it wherever you want. And then we tighten it. Be careful when tightening, as we often press down. And all of this is just plastic, so you could break something. I moved all the circuit breakers to the new upstairs panel. Now only the old differential switches, 16mm and 2 wires, and the differential breaker for the charging station remain on the ground floor. We're going to remove it for now and we'll put it back in the new panel. So this one is done. Well, it's a bit overloaded because I might have 2 modules too many if I really want to stick to the line of 8 circuit breakers. But then it's going to go down to the ground floor, and then I'll leave a few here just to lighten things up and balance between the 2 panels. Anyway, here it's going to be much bigger than what I was supposed to put for the upper floor. So I can afford to put modules that were supposed to be downstairs. Here I'll have plenty of space. I still need to get a GTL for downstairs and 16 amp and 10 amp breakers for upstairs. For you, it will be immediate, but I'll wait a few days before installing the ground floor panel. The benefit of placing this panel upstairs is that it will supply the future upper floor once the work is done. I can do my panel downstairs with a freehand and I'm relaxed, okay? I installed remote switches for both the living room and hallway and made a video about the Legrand remote switch. The link is in the description. It was for a hallway with push buttons. We'll use the same wires to connect to the resettable remote switch. Schneider. You'll see it's super simple. I'll show you the demo with some small wires, a spotlight and push buttons right next to it. You'll see that it's very simple. Connect. Okay, that's done. Now we just need to tap into the lower panel. I'll show you how I was supposed to do it if I kept the lower panel, but I'm going to change it. And to change it quickly, we're going to use 25mm2 terminal blocks for the neutral, the phase, and the ground. And I'll be able to install my GTL, my new panel. And then, of course, we'll tap into the neutral and ground terminals. So the panel on the ground floor is almost empty. There's not much left in it except for a conduit with an RJ cable. That's the intercom, connected to the gate's power. I can't recall if it's this one or the other, but it doesn't matter. And the outlets on the kitchen island, those go into the crawl space. In the crawl space, I need to clean up because there are conduits coming out. Also for the garden shed and the outdoor lighting, I've got Hop, him. This is the vehicle charging station and the differential circuit breaker here. I also have the fiber coming out of the communication box, which I cut because I don't use it. So we'll see where I'll connect the fiber box. But I think if I have space, I'd like to put it in the panel on a Deutsches Institut für Normung rail. So all of this is going to disappear. I installed 8 small outlets on one circuit breaker, which is neater than having 2 outlets competing. There were 2 more outlets in the communication box, but with just 4 total, I couldn't plug in all my chargers far enough. Now at least I'm at ease. So what's the goal? Let's say this panel is done, brand new and ready. Now I need to connect my secondary panel. Well, I take my phase wire and of course I connect it to the phase terminal block, okay? Strip the wire, attach a terminal lug, screw it in, that's it. And the same goes for the neutral wire on the neutral terminal block. For the ground, strip the wire, attach a terminal lug and screw it in, that's it. We restore power to supply the secondary panel. I won't connect it yet because I need to redo the panel. So what we're going to do is use 25 Men2 terminal blocks. So we're going to undo it. The neutral here, the live wire here, and the ground. And we connect them to the terminal blocks with our 316 mm2 wires coming from the sub panel. And once this panel is cleared, I'll have free rein to work safely. It won't be powered at all anymore. I'm redoing the GTL, the new panel. We take the 16 mm2 wires, remove the connectors, and connect them to the new panel's terminals. So all we have to do for now is unscrew. All right, we'll keep this one. It's the same for this one. We unscrew it and we'll set it aside. This main panel is no longer powered by the subscriber circuit breaker. Now, if I turn on the power, from now on, it's the secondary panel just above that's powered by the 16 mm2 neutral wire that we quickly connected with wire connectors. I'm missing some 25 mm2 lugs. I know I have them, but can't find them, so I'll get more if needed. Because we should do something cleaner than this. For now, just use wire connectors, including for the ground. We just need the secondary panel powered. We'll redo the panel later. For you, it'll be right away. For me, tomorrow or later. Let's remove this one. I'll keep it. We're taking the residual current circuit breaker to put it in the new panel. I'll keep everything else with the casing. It could always come in handy if one day I need to do a quick fix or hook up a backup panel to redo another panel. Do you get the principle now? And for those who are wondering, as for Linky, I don't know, they've been supposed to come and install it for us 2 or 3 times now, but they never show up. What is it? What are they saying? I'm not chasing them. They do what they want. One day he'll say, we're here to install Linky. Go ahead, install it. For now, we don't care. We're going to the attic to check the new secondary panel, then we'll return and redo everything. We stand here. Perfect, everything's fine, he's doing well. Now the goal is to repeat the process on the ground floor for the main panel with the same plug-in system and to bring down as many modules as possible. A few drywall screws will temporarily hold the GTL until we install the expansion anchors, 6 at the top and 6 at the bottom since the GTL is split in 2. Okay, it fits. Nothing complicated. At the top, we're going to put a cover that's about 30 cm. You can put it at the top or at the bottom, however you like. Personally, I prefer to put it at the top. Now that the GTL is fixed, we can add the framework, carcass, skeleton, or structure, whatever you want to call it. And it gets attached with these little green tabs, little green screws that will clip it in place. Turn it so it locks into the GTL groove. You should be able to do this easily with one hand. You can easily adjust it to any height you want. For example, if I choose this height, that's fine. Here works well too. So I hold this with my elbow and with the other hand, we lock it, and now we'll do the same thing. And there you go, done. For now, it's holding with the two little green clips. If I need to tighten this one, we tighten it. Of course, we'll need to level it. Just lock all the green clips and you're done. So next, of course, you need to equip the panel with the residual current devices and the circuit breakers. The neutral terminal block now goes from the top while I leave the ground at the bottom. The rail is upside down because I assembled the panel that way, but it's symmetrical. There's no direction except that I end up with the rail facing the wrong way. There we go, we unclip it, put it back, and it's perfect. A distributor, 18 modules. We place it like this, press down, so now it's locked. We take it up. Install the interdifferential switch in the panel. And we put in all the circuit breakers. So number 26, there we go, 27 next to it, the 28, 29. There you go, I've brought back all my threads. I've put on some collars, but I don't tighten them. I'll show you that in a moment. There's one right here, I don't tighten them. It's just to guide the cables and wires so they don't get tangled. Now I need the 26, which is right here. And then we're going to position ourselves like this. We'll finish ether last. After that, I need number 27. First row is done, just like the secondary panel, nothing complicated. The distribution comb, we attach the modules, we connect from underneath, that's all. This one is directly connected to the comb, no need to wire it. By the way, we're going to move it, we're going to put it here. There we go. We lock it underneath, so I have a space here. And I'm going to install the differential circuit breaker for the charging station, if I can manage to hook it up. There we go, perfect. This one must be connected directly with 16mm2 cable, not to the distribution comb or plug-in. I connected directly with 16mm2 cable to the phase neutral block. And underneath, we'll connect the ground and wire up the charging station. Speaking of ground, I'm going to remove this one. I had unclipped it because it's starting to get in my way a bit. There isn't much wire, so imagine with everything else, it's really going to bother me. We'll connect the ground wire last. I still need to do the third, second, and first row. I'll do it off camera since it's the same as here and helps me progress. I'll get back to you when we're connecting the differential breakers with the vertical bus bars and 16mm2 wires. We take the bus bar, we put it here. There we go. The others, of course, are in place. We'll need to tighten everything. Then connect the power supply from the main circuit breaker. Phase and neutral, I've already done this. I was about to say a terminal, but it's a cable end. Every time I say terminal, but it's actually a cable end. So, it's yellow. You can repaint it black if you want. You can put some red tape on it. To represent the phase, we crimp all of this. We're going to cut off the excess. So this one, it's going to come here. On my phase terminal block at the location for the 25mm diameter. That's done. We do the same for the neutral, placing it at the bottom since it's reversed. You need to hold them securely to ensure a proper fit, and above all, Here it's just plastic, so I hold the terminal block while screwing to avoid breaking the tabs. So the secondary panel, there we go, we're going to put it here. The phase wire, we're going to run it underneath. So this is the phase wire from the secondary panel that's upstairs. This is the residual current circuit breaker I installed on the module. Of 5, just like I did for the secondary panel. I'll film that for you again in a little while. So this is the neutral wire. From the interdifferential to the 5 module, we're going to put the charging station here. There we go. The neutral, we're going to put it there. We're now powering the breakers with 16 mm M2. So here, I'm not putting a cable in. We put this here, and this one, we're going to put it all the way at the bottom. Finally, we'll put in the neutral. Here. It will make a nice little loop and come around. There you go. Like this. Be sure to screw it in tightly, don't forget. The other differential switches. The panel is finished. All that's left is to turn on the power, but of course we'll check that everything works. Instead of powering everything on and risking a trip, you'll wonder where the problem is coming from. The ideal way is to turn on one residual current device and then each circuit breaker. And if it trips, that means there's a wiring problem. We'll turn on each switch and circuit breaker to check everything, but first, a quick recap. The main power supply comes out of the main circuit breaker in 25 mm2 with the yellow cable end on the neutral and the phase. So the terminal blocks are powered, and I can now power my residual current devices with the vertical bus bars to supply each switch. So with 16 mm2 on the neutral and phase, and the same for the charging station and this residual current device. On a 5 module rail, I added another one above it in case I need to add another residual current device. I also have my secondary panel upstairs, which gives me 1, 2, 3. With the secondary panel upstairs, I have 4 16 mm2 neutrals, 4 16 mm2 phases, and a 25 mm2 neutral and phase. So everything is powered, we can turn on the power, we lift the panel, a residual current device, and each circuit breaker is a hop. I hear beeping in the house, things are starting up again. We should have more light here. I can't remember which one it is. Well, it was this one, number 25. We turn it on, the charging station. Perfect. There you go. Everything works perfectly. The grounds, as I mentioned, it's plastic and somewhat fragile. Hold it underneath and press to lay down the wires. It would be better if they gave us a bit more space, maybe 3 or 4 centimeters, so we could fit our hands through, even at the top. Already more slots wouldn't be a bad thing, and maybe a bit more space to be able to connect everything. Or otherwise, you have to move the terminal blocks into a box, for example here, and make all the connections in this box below, the fiber. I tied everything up because it's so fragile that pulling on it would ruin it. It then goes back into the house through there, it's perfect. So here I've labeled everything, it's all tied up. He's the last one, but he's stuck. I need to go into the crawl space. Same for him, I'm redoing it and need to go there. I might as well use a clean line since it was cut here. And this is the power supply for the gate. And then, like I told you, I'll redo this when I have a bit more time because I have to crawl all the way to the other end, so we'll see about all that. So all I have left to do is put the cover, the hood, on top and underneath. And then up there, the little cover that fits perfectly. As you can see, I could have just patched this side, but instead I cleared out the whole area. Everything fits in this GTL. The small covers are installed. I removed the plastic parts. The cover up there is slightly flared to fit the shape. The conduits, cables, and wires inside. The door is optional, but it's best to install it. It protects, looks finished, and is clean and white. So of course you can have it open to the left or to the right. You unscrew the 4 screws, snap the door in place, put the screws back, and on the other side there are little magnets. With the clips that are here, you see this? It's mint. It's pretty convenient. Inside, I'm not doing my layout for now. I'm waiting for the secondary panel, the one that's upstairs, to be finished. If I need to swap a module or remote switch, I might put another one upstairs, so it could end up there. I don't want to redo the whole row. It's simple. Just print it. I already did it myself. The kit includes stickers, washing machines, and more. You know what I mean, but I prefer printing them myself. Flip this, insert the sheet, flip it back, and it's perfect. Everything is marked. For now, I'll just stick with my sheet. I'll rewrite it neatly and tape it to the board. And it'll be the same upstairs. It'll be right next to it. Obviously, there's not much left in it. Everything has been brought down. Here, I added modules for the future rooms that will be created in all this, but right now it's empty. For him, if I cut the power and the lights go out, we just turn it back on. It works well, so I'll keep the outlets since I'll need them. I wanted to explain this one for something we'll install in this house later on. And here we have our remote switch, and that's exactly what we're going to focus on, the remote switch. What about the cable? I made a video on the Grand, the link's in the description. We're going to reuse exactly the same wires, the same colors, and then we're going to wire this remote switch. So we take the remote switch, place it on the distributor, and snap it in. It's meant to be powered by phase and neutral once I have electricity. Now I'm activating it. It's powered with phase and neutral. There we go. So we put a first neutral wire in the neutral terminal. Okay, we take a second one. We put it in as well, and then we tighten everything. This will go out now. It's just a demonstration, so we'll run it behind instead of in front. This one will power it. The neutral of the step relay, and we put it on terminal 2. And right here, we have a little number 2, so I guess this is terminal number 2 in place. As I mentioned, I'm keeping the colors, like with the step relay. The big one here is purple, but you can use whatever color you want. A purple wire, so I end up with the blue and the purple. That's my light point. My spotlight is plastic, so I don't need the ground wire. If your light point needs a ground wire, connect it directly to the ground terminal block. That's the case with my light point. The neutral goes on the neutral and the purple wire goes on the live. So this one, it will need to be held around here. There you go, perfect. So under the terminal, before the circuit breaker, we place a red wire. And so that's my phase. For the push button, next to terminal A2 is terminal A1, where we place and tighten an orange wire. And directly the same on the push button. Behind the push button is the letter L, or red terminal, indicating the phase. So we take the phase wire and we just connect it right on there. And then I have terminal 1 left, so we connect the orange wire, and that's what it looks like. So now, if I turn the power back on the remote switch, I can directly turn on my light point, or else from the push button. And now, to add more, it's not complicated. We tap into terminal 1 and the phase terminal to power the other push buttons. But whether it's the push button or the light point, the best thing is to bring everything into one box. Because if one day you decide to remove a light point or a push button, at least you won't cut off the rest. It's that simple. Why make bridges between them? If I have 3 push buttons and remove the middle one, the third loses power. So, I'm going to tap into terminal 1 with an orange wire and into the phase terminal with a red wire. Seen from the back, you understand? The orange wire is on terminal 1, continue. If you have about 10, you have 10 push buttons. Same for the phase, on the phase, on the phase in red. We put all that back, we turn the power back on. And now it works from any of them. So here it's a double switch and a push button, and this is 2 push buttons. But a push button is nothing more than a switch. And there's a spring inside. There's nothing complicated about it. There you have it. Your remote switch is now wired. Plug-in Schneider. This one's halfway done. The bottom one is finished. I've closed the GTL and the door. We won't open it again. If I open it, it's just to make a small change and add a module here instead of at the bottom, but it's done. I've pulled all my cables on the right side. Right for me, maybe left for you. It depends on your perspective. I've cut everything and pulled all the cables, but there's still more to do. So we're gonna bring out the INX and towers again. We'll pull all these cables and run everything along the perimeter so there's nothing in the middle. If a Wago disconnects in a junction box, I don't want to break the ceiling or cut the floor to fix it. So we'll revisit everything along the perimeter. Installing a secondary panel is simple. We just tap into the main panel. You can power an attic, pool house, outdoor garage, or workshop. In short, no matter what you're powering, it's relatively simple. The plug-in system is much faster, but COM bus bars also work well. The COM bus bar is also about €1 cheaper than the plug-in system. As I mentioned, I wish the plug-in system offered more space for our hands. Once you've connected everything, for example, there's not much space left, but otherwise it works very well. You put it directly on the distribution block and you have power on your circuit breaker. This saves time, otherwise we'd have to unscrew and remove a comb each time. Understand? Thank you for watching this video. I hope it was useful to you. If you need to redo or add a panel, we'll be back soon for more attic work.